We, besides the improvements in the things we want to kind of add to how we do business, as far as community engagement, we felt it was important to highlight what we are already doing on a pretty frequent basis. This is just recently, a couple Saturdays ago, we were invited to Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church's health conference, and we both attended and learned a whole bunch, learned from other health care providers. And it was focused on holistic well-being. So the whole mental and physical, spiritual health, the whole gamut. So wanted to share that we attended this conference, and there'll be more like this. We'll be letting you know that we actually do. So it was and it was very informative. Next slide. Annual wildfire response training and guidelines. So many people, you are aware, but many in our city are not, that over half of our city is forested. And one of the forested areas is one of our most valuable assets, which is our watershed. So we take part in annual training conducted by Department of Natural Resources every year. And this is just a little bit of information about the qualifications not only the fire department receives, but Public Works receives. And for this one, especially for significant, I'll just let you know, for significant wildfire issues, our Public Works will most likely be the first on scene due to their knowledge of the land and the terrain and the equipment. But if you go down further, though, you'll notice all 16 members of our fire department have a wildfire type 2 certification red card. There's some equipment that you see on the right-hand side. The 400-gallon brush truck, the brush one that the fire department has. One above is the Public Works department, and of course a gallon slip-in tank. When I say first response would be the Public Works, it does not mean the fire department will not be there. They will be side by side. It's just the equipment and the actual people who operate the equipment will be first in there to clear pathways and to make other equipment more accessible. So this is an annual certification. Once again, it was held April 3rd. And just wanted to share a little bit about some of the other duties a lot aren't aware of that we perform in the city. Next slide. Jarstead Aquatic Center. We thought, we've been getting some inquiries about this, so I thought I'd give you an update and the public. As you can see up there, the overflow tank was reported to be damaged or just defective on April 9th. April 21st, work is planned to begin. It should go quickly once the materials are in place. YMCA is using this downtime to do some of their regular pool maintenance. And so they're going to maximize the opportunity to use this so they can get some work done. At the bottom, it's important for you to consider, and for the public, the repair is not meant to be a permanent repair where this will be continuing indefinitely. What it does do is buy time for the full facility assessment that was budgeted in our 2025 budget to continue. And so with that assessment and the report, and then we'll evaluate the recommendations. So that's coming. Next slide. And before we move on, we realize how important an asset the pool is to our community. It's a low intensity workout opportunity for many of our seniors. And we realize how important that is also for our swim team and some of the other exercise programs out there. So we do treat this with very high priority. Next slide. All right, Kids Fishing Day. Now, Eric Younger, this is for kids only. This is the Pogie Club. It's coming soon. And so April 26th, fun. I get to finally participate as a grandfather. My My granddaughter now is of the legal age to be able to fish in this event. So looking forward to some fun this year. That's coming on April 26th at 9 a.m., starting at 9 a.m. That's at Jarstead Park. All right, next slide, Dave. And last, but certainly not least, the cleanup. This annual cleanup that occurs during Earth Week is happening once again, or Earth Day, I should say. We celebrate during the week, but Earth Day. And this is one I've participated in. I encourage members of the public, council to do this. It's helpful. It's helps our waterways. We get to analyze where some of the garbage is coming from. If there's a source that we can connect with to maybe provide some information, those type of data points come out when we do the cleanup. So, but anyway, if you get down there to the boardwalk at 11 a.m., you can be assigned a place to go do some cleanup and get some equipment and some bags with you. And yeah, it's actually a lot of fun. It's just good for our community. And that is it tonight, council.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. Now we'll go to the consent agenda. Welcome our city clerk, Angela Hoover. Welcome back, Ms. Hoover.
Thank you, President Younger.
Go ahead and proceed, please.
Okay. For approval on the consent agenda are the following items. A, claims and check register. Approval of the following checks and electronic fund transfers. 1, check numbers 410670 through 410736 and EFT numbers V43298 through V43351 and the grand total amount of $1,078,623.28. 2, regular payroll for pay period ending March 31st, 2025, and the amount of $1,102,329.82. 3, regular payroll payout for pay period ending March 31st, 2025, and the amount of $964.30. B, minutes of council meeting, April 2nd, 2025. C, minutes of study session, April 9th, 2025. D, contract with Instituform Technologies LLC for the 2025 sewer rehabilitation project. E, contract with Northwest Cascade, Inc. for the Francis Street Outfall Stormwater Treatment Project. F, approval to eliminate a firefighter position and to add a firefighter paramedic position to the 2025 authorized staffing for the fire department. And G, interlocal agreement between the Suquamish tribe and the city of Bremerton for emergency services. This concludes the reading of the consent agenda.
Okay, thank you. If any member of the public wishes to speak to any of the consent agenda items, we only ask that you state your name for the record and please limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. Having said that, does any member of the public wish to comment on any of the consent agenda items?
I'm Jose Camacho, Friends of Smith Cove. There are stormwater projects on the agenda. Sorry. Thank you. I still haven't mastered the machinery. There are stormwater projects on the agenda which take, of course, city monies, public monies. There's an amazing thing that has happened here where the city civility, the Sound West Group, ended up being erasure of a salmonid restoration plan for Smith Cove. That's actually what hooked me into this. I don't even know what to call what's going on in the city. So it's dates from 2014. It's still actually pending. It has to do with rehabilitating shore. It's for forest fish. It's to help the salmon. And you would never know it exists. And that's because the city decided they needed to help Sound West Group. And to do that, they needed to eliminate effectively the recreation designation of the Evergreen Park Smith Cove area. That designation incorporates ecological stewardship. And that's gone. And it's a crying shame. And it's a violation of the GMA planning goal for the environment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Camacho. Anyone else?
Yes. My name is Robin Weldon. I am a member of Friends of Smith Cove. I am a resident of Bremerton. I live by in a 122-year-old home in the Evergreen Park Historical Neighborhood. And I want to comment about, I want to agree with Mr. Camacho on the pending restoration plan that was in Smith Cove.
Okay, so I'm sorry. So a point of order, Ms. Weldon, was
Yes.
it? So I was patiently listening to Mr. Camacho and I was hoping he would tie it into one of the consent agenda items.
I think he was tying it into stormwater.
Yeah, stormwater for the Francis Street Outfall Stormwater Treatment Project.
Okay, I'll wait. Thank you.
So yeah, if you don't mind for the next item under public recognition, you certainly can have your 3 minutes. Thank you. Is everyone else on the council okay with me bringing that up? Thank you. Anyone else for public recognition? I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. For the consent agenda. All right, Mr. Sorensen, is there anyone online? No, thank you. Seeing none, I'll go to the council for a motion.
Move to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Call for the question.
Councilmember Chamberlain,
Yes.
Fry,
Yes.
Coughlin,
Yes.
Robolowski,
Yes.
Goodnow,
Yes.
Mochler,
Yes.
Younger.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, now we have public recognition. As indicated on the agenda, public recognition provides an opportunity for attendees to address the council on any issue not already on tonight's agenda. This is not interactive and the council is here to listen to your concerns and questions. There'll be no public comments accepted via Zoom tonight unless prior arrangements were made through the city clerk by calling 360-473-5323 at least 24 hours prior to the meeting. Ms. Hoover, did we have anybody call in?
We did not.
Thank you. Again, we only ask that you state your name for the record and please limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. A timer system will be used so everyone is treated fairly. With that, I will open the public recognition. Mr. Camacho, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you. Jose Camacho, Friends of Smith Cove. Smith Cove in Evergreen Park has a stormwater outfall. It's in the city's records. It's in the GIS mapping for stormwater. It's called ST17. You can see a groove on the beach after rain and even after rain. Water comes sluicing down. The topography makes all the water in the area sluice down into Smith Cove. At the mouth of Smith Cove, on either side of it, either corner, are two other stormwater outfalls. Smith Cove gets a disproportionate amount of the city's stormwater, therefore pollution, including 6 ppd. You would never know it if you ever listen to the city. It's a race along with the ecological stewardship for Smith Cove because of Sound West Group. The other thing, I have an email from Wesley Larson to the mayor, September 14, 2018, telling him what the fantastic opportunity zone plans he has, number of OZ funds, 50 million a pop. We're going to go to the capital markets and raise this money. Subsequently, General VC basically said, not so fast, you're embezzling. So despite all the kudos Sound West Group gets and the city gets for helping Sound West Group, including from the dais at council, we don't know actually what has happened. It turned into a money grubbing affair with name calling between partners of Sound West Group. And now we have a Sound West Group partner on the planning commission. In 2017, the mayor ran on getting builders' attention by tying homelessness and gentrification to increased heights and expedited permitting. A few years later, he bragged he accomplished that. What he accomplished, from my review of city public records, is that DCD started in 2019, right off the top in 2019, trying to figure out a way to concoct a map gimmick that would give DCD cover to slip Southwest Group a special favor, and they did. In 10/11/22, these special favors manifested in a DCD decision, which basically said, it's isolated, don't worry about it, it's exempted, they don't need a shoreline permit, it's all a sham. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Robin Weldon. I wanted to respond to Garrett Jackson standing up here and saying that that Ecology approved the 2021 illegal SMP Shoreline Master Program. And that the response that Friends of Smith Cove, Mr. Camacho, myself got in the comp plan was that Ecology approved it. There was a time for appeal. My point is that you cannot appeal something that is deceptive. And 2 years were spent trying to deceive Ecology and the city council at the time that they weren't doing anything, that they could go ahead and make fabricate a barrier that wasn't there for the shoreline. They used a flat road, Sheldon Boulevard, as a barrier to the shoreline of Smith Cove from Wesley Arthur Larson III's parcels. They isolated Mr. Larson III's parcels in the Shoreline Master Program. Ecology rep that was there took their word for it. She didn't investigate. And the people that on the council at the time, Lori Wheat, she said it was a lessening of shoreline protection. She was the only attorney on the council. Councilperson Mockler was there at the time as a public citizen who said it was a vitiation of shoreline protections. The public, but nobody really knew what the fabrication, what the deception, what the minor change was. And let me tell you something about Sheldon Boulevard. It is a flat shoreline road. I could lie on Mr. Larson III's parcels and I could roll across Sheldon Boulevard, roll across Evergreen Park and be right there at a pathway that leads down to Smith Cove. It's an illegal minor change update to the 2021 Shoreline Master Program, and it's what the 2044 comp plan is based on, because it created interrupted buffers based on that deception. So the comp plan, they're just going to have
Thank you.
free reign.
Thank you, Ms. Weldon. Your time is up. Anyone else for public recognition? Sir,
50 seconds left in the clock. Can I add something? I would
I
take you 10 seconds.
I don't believe that's our procedure, sir. Mr.
You want
Camacho.
to make an exception? Or-
So actually, no, because then I'll be making exceptions from here on out in those types. I'm sorry, Mr. Camacho. Thank you, Mr. Camacho. So now we are going to close public recognition, and I'll turn to our city clerk for the general business. Thank you.
General business items 6A, acceptance of the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee's 2025 revised funding recommendations. Today, we have presenter for the we have LTAC Chair, Jennifer Chamberlain.
Hello, friends. So we're gonna take a moment and let a couple folks excuse themselves. And this is because they are affiliated with some of the parties who are requesting LTAC funding. Okay, I think we have some slides. So this is an opportunity for us to see the lodging tax recommendations publicly. Now, these were remanded back to the LTAC committee for additional recommendations, but we'll talk about that in a moment. We can go to the next slide. What is lodging tax? Lodging tax is an additional 4% excise tax paid by the people staying at a hotel or similar business that includes the short-term rentals, Airbnbs, Verbos, etc., for up to 30 days. RCW 67.28 outlines the process for this. We can go to the next slide. Feel free to look that RCW up at your convenience. LTAC approved uses, and this is pretty specific. This is just about getting folks heads in beds in our community. Marketing of events and festivals, operations of organizations supporting tourism, operations or capital expenditures for municipally owned facilities. Next. I'll leave this up for a moment. I'm not going to read everything to you. You can take a look at the requests versus the recommendations. The LTAC committee, and let me just explain a little bit about how that works. I, as a counselor, am there to facilitate and not provide recommendations myself. I can provide a little bit of guidance as to what council's direction might be, but it's my job is just to facilitate the conversation between the LTAC committee members. The LTAC committee members made their recommendations, which you can see on the right-hand side. They made recommendations for everybody to receive some sort of funding, a small bit of funding, or a little bit closer toward their goal of funding. And we had 433,500 allocated, as opposed to the over 1 million requested. So not everybody can get everything they wanted, but that's how the cookie crumbles, so they say. Next slide. So the continued funding opportunities are for two organizations, Kitsap Conference Center and Admiral Theater Foundation. Next. That's the last one. So, and this is in our agenda bill, just to give you a little bit of history. The interviews for the applicants were held December 12th, 2024 and January 10th, 2025. There were deliberations on February 7th. During the February 26th study session, LTAC presented their recommendations for council's consideration, which included funding for all of the applicants. Council proposed a change for Quincy Square to be fully funded and remanded recommendations to LTAC for consideration and response. On March 28th, the LTAC held a meeting which included discussion and an opportunity for public comment. The outcome was that a majority of LTAC agreed with the proposed change, since this would meet the intended use of lodging tax. I think with that concludes my presentation, and I turn it over to you, Council President.
Thank you. Does any member of the public wish to comment on this item?
Jose Camacho, friend of Smith Cove. I object to the sluicing of public monies to Sound Rescue. And Quincy Square is an opportunity zone area along with Marina Square and the Rig Evergreen Point project. The city is just funneling money, admittedly under cover of law, but they are sluicing money to this private commercial interest. This is another indicia of just the overwhelming power and influence that developer and the developer cartel in the region has over city processes. It runs so deep that in ordinance 5506 and 5508, the city actually, amazingly enough, codified the elimination of due process for ordinary citizens who object to bloated projects across the street from them. It doesn't seem to have occurred to anyone in the council. That's what you did, or you're hiding it, but that's what you did. Constitutional law. Mockler was the only one to object, and it wasn't exactly a roaring lion. So there's something deeply wrong with the city's absolute servility to that developer. You know, those partners may be the greatest thing since, sliced cheese, but they're just human and they're profit driven. And this servility has resulted in a warping of actual law. Presentations are given which depend on omission and misrepresentation. It goes back years. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Camacho. So for the record, the city of Bremerton is actually the applicant for the Quincy Square amount. Any other public comment? Mr. Sorensen, do we have anyone online?
We do not.
Okay, thank you. Seeing no more comments, go to the council for a motion.
Okay. Move to accept the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee's 2025 revised funding recommendations per Exhibit A.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, the motion is second, open for discussion. Councilmember Chamberlain, do you have any additional discussion on this?
I don't, and I mean, you know where I sit with this, so I'm in support of what the LTAC recommended. I'm also in support of what council requested, and I look forward to a discussion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Vice President Revelowski. Go ahead, please.
Sorry. I have quite a few questions. And I know LTAC committee is independent and in the way that council doesn't have a decision-making tool whether or not to accept everything they say or nothing they say. The heads and beds, which is what LTAC money is supposed to support, the applications were just unbelievably high. I'm sorry, but a one-day event does not put 4,000 people in hotel rooms, let alone we don't have 4,000 hotel rooms in the city. I also disagree strongly that LTAC is giving a substantial amount of money for an event that isn't even taking place in city limits. It's taking place at the fairgrounds. So, and I hear what Mr. Camacho says, but I don't fully, although the developers may benefit from the Quincy Square development, the taxpayers have put in a huge amount of money for Quincy Square to be developed. And I was really disappointed that there was no operational plan. And then at the last minute, city asked for $45,000 so they could develop an operational plan for something that's opening in months. So I have no choice but to vote for this, but I'm really disappointed in the way the LTAC committee, the whole process has been going.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Mockler.
I really appreciate my colleague, Councilor Revelowski's comments. I would just like to add that if anybody would like to look up the RCW that governs LTAC, they will be really astounded to learn that the people, the two members must represent organizations that are going to receive money from LTAC. They will perhaps be further astounded to learn that the role of the council member is facilitator only, that it's a really tough job, and I'm complimenting the two fellow councilors who have done it, which is they are not there to give opinions. And since we are an opinionated bunch, I think there's some really well-bitten tongues here. This is the state definition of the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee. So I just wanted to say that.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Councilmember Fry.
First of all, I want to thank
Councilmember Chamberlain for leading this committee. It was a longer process than usual. And I attended all those meetings just in case she needed past chair experience, and she did not. She did a beautiful job of facilitation. Something which I wasn't really able to do because I am opinionated. I've had the opportunity to be involved with LTAC from an applicant with the Chamber of Commerce and Armed Forces Day Festival, as well as chairing the committee. And I know the process to be rife with conflicts of interest, which are very hard for all of us to navigate as we try to make independent, sound decisions, and we're representing organizations that are applying for funding. That's a very difficult position to be put in. And I do think that the committee members that are volunteers on that committee, they dedicate a lot of hours to this, and they really do try to balance that conflict and manage it well. But it's very, very challenging the way that it's set up through our state statute. I was also very concerned, as was Councilor Rebelowski, it wasn't even a last minute application. It was after the committee had made recommendations that an application came from the city to operate Quincy Square. I was also very disappointed in the lack of vision and experience in the administration. Of course, we're going to have to operate it. Events don't just happen themselves. And so I look forward to that being a part of the planning process in the future. I will say that LTAC is meant for heads in beds. That's just the vernacular that we use, because it's meant to bring in people to visit Bremerton as tourists, to stay in hotel rooms, and to pay that tax to re-engage that fund, to reinvest in that fund, hopefully grow that fund as an economic development engine. Tourism is a part of economic development. My concern is because the shipyard has taken over our local hotels here in downtown Bremerton, the chance to bring people to Quincy Square who are actually going to stay in hotels is marginalized. It's much lower than it would be. I hope that the administration can work with our local hotels and with the shipyard to find other solutions for housing for those many thousands more shipyard workers are going to need housing. I can see where per diem rates to cover hotel rooms might be an attractive option, but the city loses lodging tax when those arrangements are made because those are for longer stays than 30 days. So I'm very concerned about that. For Quincy Square, I think ongoing, if we don't free up those hotel rooms, we should not be allocating LTAC funds to Quincy Square for operations. I'm hoping that we can fix this to add hotel rooms downtown, because I think that's a very exciting prospect for tourism. But the way the shipyard has taken over those hotel rooms, it really does not provide a good enough foundation on which to build. And the other thing is FIFA. FIFA is coming up, and I'm sure that we're going to want LTAC funding for that. That is not meant. Fan zones are not meant to be for tourists. They're for our community to come together. And so I encourage the city, even though it's not in your normal operation, to start looking for other funding than LTAC to support Quincy Square and FIFA, unless we can somehow create more hotel room space. So just giving advance notice that I'm going to be watching this. And we really need to be spending these dollars for the betterment of Bremerton. And tourism is an economic development engine, not simply a party planner. We need to prove that there are heads and beds coming as a part of this investment. So I'm going to support this. I think, again, Councilmember Chamberlain did an incredible job of facilitating this process, and I think the committee did its best. It's up to the council and the city to do it right. So look forward to some changes coming with our LTAC procedures. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any further follow-ups? Councilmember Chamberlain?
Do you have anything you want to add first, Council President?
No.
Okay. So of course, I'm not going to speak against the motion because I made the motion. I want to just kind of echo some of the thoughts of my counselors and remind me who's on. There's an ad hoc, and so it's
Yeah, no worries. We're going to talk about this in next week's study session.
Okay.
Councilmember Fry, Vice President Revlowski, and
That's right.
myself about
And-
LTAC potential changes.
Thank you. And so these three counselors are getting together to come up with some protocol that we can give to our next LTAC committee, which I think is great. It was really interesting to be part of the process, and I wanted to make so many different comments and I didn't. Thank you, Counselor Fry, for your assistance, for your backup for that. And I want to throw a shout out to our LTAC committee members and thank them. We have Angela Neri from Fairfield Inn, Chasuba Constable from Oyster Bay Inn, Jennifer Zuber from Bremerton Historic Ships Association, and Mike Huey from the Washington State Science and Engineering Fair. And also thank you to Christine Grenier, our legislative assistant, who was big time help with all of that and onboarding me with the process. I look forward to what the three of you come up with because my first year being on this and seeing the data being conflicting and overlapping, double dipping of the data was hard to bite my tongue at that too. Being that I'm really skeptical and scrutinize data. That's something that's important to me. And when I saw the overlapping data, I wanted to ask questions, but I just felt like I couldn't in that facilitator role. I'm going to be real honest. I felt uncomfortable with the process of the city coming later and then finding additional funding for this project for the city. Why can't other organizations do that? But the city was able to do that. I'm concerned about that. It didn't seem fair, but that's what we decided together as a group would be our recommendation. And anyway, thank you very much for having me be a part of the process, President Younger.
Sure. Any other comments, questions? Call for the question.
Councilmember Fry,
Yes.
Coughlin is an abstention. Councilmember Roblowski,
Yes.
Goodnow is an abstention. And Councilmember Mochler,
Yes.
Councilmember Chamberlain,
Yes.
and President Younger.
Yes.
Motion carries 5 yeses, 0 nos, and 2 abstain.
Okay, thank you. So that concludes our general business tonight. Vice President Revlowski, could you invite our two missing council members back in? I figured if they were talking out loud, then they couldn't hear what was being delivered.
We're just commenting that we think it's funny that the 2 abstention counselors were talking really loud in the back room.
So no worries. I don't think it got picked up on the microphone. In any case, now we're going to turn to council reports. This is an opportunity for council members to provide an update on any issues or events taking place in their district, announce any events they've recently attended or plan to attend, or speak on any other city-related topic. Since this is the last council meeting of the month, yes, it is. We'll start with District 6 Councilmember Anna Mochler. Go ahead.
Slide, please.
So my next town hall is on May 12th, as you will see from a slide. Okay. My photo has disappeared. Okay, moving right along. So it's from 5 to 6:30 at 100 Oyster Bay Avenue North. Come on by. Their speakers will be announced in a week or two, and if you are lucky enough to be on the mail list, you'll find out about it. Next slide, please. And thanks again to Public Works for letting me use this space. Yes, it has happened. It has happened. The bathroom has been craned in. Strange individuals lay underneath this concrete bathroom while the crane held it in the air and connected the plumbing that was in place to the plumbing in the bathroom. I watched them emerge from this pretty astounded. And now what the Parks Department insists on calling toys, but what I think we can all call a playground, is going to be put together on a community build day at 9 a.m. Parks Director Tim Barker will personally test every nut and bolt for torque. That's right. That's right. And you can have your photo taken with him while he is testing. If you happen to be the kind of person who has 3/8-inch ratchets and 1/2, 5/8, 9/16, 3/4 sockets and wrenches kicking around, bring them on down. Okay. It starts at 9 a.m. on April 19th. That's all the slides, I believe. Yeah. Okay. So, quick update on Mr. Abrego Garcia. The Supreme Court ruling, I'm sure you're all familiar with, and the fact that he is still apparently in Secot prison. So I'm going to move on from that. And I've sent out little love letters to my district from time to time, and this one's a little love letter for my colleagues here on council. It's by Marge Piercy, and it's called To Be of Use, because it's still National Poetry Month. The people I love the best jump into work head first without dallying in the shallows and swim off with sure strokes almost out of sight. They seem to become natives of that element, the black, sleek heads of seals bouncing like half-submerged balls. I love people who harness themselves an ox to a heavy cart, who pull like water buffalo with massive patience, who strain in the mud and the muck to move things forward, who do what has to be done again and again. I want to be with people who submerge in the task, who go into the fields to harvest and work in a row and pass the bags along, who are not parlor generals and field deserters, but move in a common rhythm when the food must come in or the fire be put out. The work of the world is common as mud. Botched, it smears the hands, crumbles to dust. But the thing worth doing, well done, has a shape that satisfies, clean and evident. Greek amphoras for wine or oil, Hopi vases that held corn are put in museums, but you know they were made to be used. The pitcher cries for water to carry, and a person for work that is real. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Goodman.
I have no report.
Thank you, Vice President Roblowski.
I think I have a slide, Dave. On May 1st, I'm going to be holding a town hall for District 4, but anybody in the city is welcome to come. We recently passed a rental property registration law, and our tax and license specialist, Tara Burgess, is going to come and give a great explanation. It's really important that the over 50% of Bremerton households who are renting understand this new law, because I think there's a lot of tools in it that may be of use to you. So I hope people come for that. And former Mayor Lynn Horton is going to speak briefly about some concerns she has with the state of our schools. So that's it for my slides, but I just want to reiterate what the mayor said about the Sinclair cleanup on the 26th, because we're not going to have another public meeting before that. And it's really important that everybody just come spend an hour or two down at the boardwalk or down by the ghost ships. There's places all over the area that you can help with the cleanup. And then I wanted to remind everybody that Saturday, April 19th, is the 250th anniversary of Paul Revere's ride through Boston to remind us that a revolution was taking place. So anyway, I hope everybody celebrates in a way that they want to. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Coughlin.
Thank you. Keep mine short as well. Ditto on the Sinclair Inlet, went to it last year and really great event. And it's just amazing how much trash can pile up and good to see people come out. There is also want to announce an event this Saturday at 11 at Manette Park is the annual Manette Easter egg hunt put on by the Manette Neighborhood Coalition. They always do a fantastic job every year. So look forward to that. And then Council Mockler, I will bring my sockets. So I'll see you there. And while the director may test all the nuts and bolts, I promise to personally test all the slides and playground equipment. So, yeah, for safety. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Fry.
It's really great to be vertical again, to be up and around. For those of you who have not seen me and noticed that I wasn't up here, I had 2 back-to-back eye surgeries recently and had to be on my tummy 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Was not fun. I can't tell you how good it is to be back with my colleagues, with all of you, and I look forward to our work together. That's it for me.
Thank you, Councilmember Chamberlain.
I think I have a couple of slides. Yeah, welcome back, Councilor Fry. My son had the same surgery she did when he was about 3 weeks old. I think that you were probably a lot less wiggly than him, but it must have been hard to stay flat and immobile as much as possible. All right, so Earth Day is going to be a busy day for some folks, but in the evening, if you have some time, and if you're nearby, if you're a neighbor, or even if you're not a neighbor, come on down to 2800 Birch Street and meet up with me and some other folks for the Stephenson Canyon Stewardship Group. We're going to meet on Tuesday, April 22nd at 4 o'clock. And for this, we're taking it to the next level. Hopefully we'll have somebody from park staff available to kind of, for some of us we know and some of us we don't know, what are the invasive plant species in our parks. And so parks individual will hopefully be there to help us out with that. And we're gonna maybe make a plan to get rid of some of those invasive species. Next slide. Oh, it's that time again. It's time to go get your free donut, your free t-shirt, and your free cup of coffee over at Cafe Perfetto on for the Warren Avenue Bridge cleanup. They're meeting this Saturday, I don't have my glasses. Is it April 19th? This is that. Yes. Okay. Thank goodness. April 19th, in front of Cafe Perfetto. That is the little coffee stand that's over across from SARS grocery store from the gas station over there. And so meet over there at 8:30. And 9 a.m. is when they set out. Sometimes they go a little early. They go in teams. I got to go last time. And it was a very well-planned effort. So they go out. I mean, we have like walkers and we have people who are like runners and they go and they cover a lot of ground. I think that's it for my slides. Thank you, Councilor Mockler, for the poetry every April. I know you and I have a common link with the poetry side of things, and I always appreciate when you bring that to us. Bring it every council meeting for all I care. I love it. Thank you. And I think that's it for my report. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you. So Councilmember Chamberlain, an invasive plant species I suspect that you will discover is the Himalayan blackberry. Which,
yes,
by the way, we celebrate every year with our Blackberry Festival. So I'm going to let you struggle with eradicating something that we celebrate later on in the year. Just saying. So I guess that's my poetry in a way, the irony of the blackberry. With that, folks, it's a beautiful day out. Enjoy your evening. Before we adjourn, a reminder that next regular study session will be on Wednesday, April 23rd, beginning at 5 p.m. in the 6th floor conference room with a remote option available by Zoom. Hey, folks, that concludes tonight's meeting. Have a great evening.